With lots of kung fu and plenty of revenge, SIfu pays tribute to martial arts movies. But is this game as good as its inspiration? We're here to tell you what we thought. Let's cut to the chase. In SIfu, you play a hero who's on a quest for vengeance after witnessing the murder of your father and of Master SIfu by a certain Yang. And if that weren't enough, Yang has also ordered your execution. But thanks to a magic talisman, you're able to come back from the dead. The game picks up a few years later when you're ready to exact your revenge. SIfu is divided into 5 levels, and each level ends with a boss battle during which you'll have to take on one of the gang members present at your father's assassination. When it comes to gameplay, we'd be lying if we said that SIfu was for everyone. This game is hard. Very hard. And if you're not used to a pretty solid challenge, you'll quickly stop counting the number of times you have to restart a level. Because once you've used up the lives granted to you by the talisman, the round is over. And while we're at it, we should talk for a second about that life meter. As we mentioned, the talisman allows you to come back to life, but, and this is a big but, each time you come back to life, you also age. That said, you can bring down the meter by defeating mini-bosses throughout the various levels. To make things a little easier on yourself, you can spend experience points earned by defeating your enemies to unlock new techniques, as well as passive bonuses to improve your health and/or the structure and durability of the weapons you'll find along your way. And we definitely suggest taking advantage of that, because the slightest misstep in this game is going to cost you dearly. Another thing that makes the game challenging is that you start out each level at the age at which you finished the last one. For example, you start out level 1 at 20 years old. If, let's say, you finish that level at 48 years old, that means you'll be 48 years old at the beginning of the second level. If you want to make yourself younger, well, you'll have to restart the first level and try to finish it at as young an age as possible. Heads up though, going back to a previous level does have immediate consequences. You'll lose your non-permanent bonuses as well as other skills that you've unlocked at higher levels. On a positive note, when you're young, you can't hit as hard, but your health gauge does shrink more slowly. On the other hand, as you get older, you hit harder, but your enemies' blows are more likely to prove fatal. SIfu pays tribute to famous kung fu movies, and you'll find references sprinkled throughout the game. We especially like the hallway scene, reminiscent of Oldboy, as well as the drug factory scene, which is a hat tip to the raid. And there are a lot more. In terms of graphics, the environment and characters in the game have a kind of painterly style, which is a hat tip to a kind of Asian culture and look that Studio Soclap wanted to include. We have to say, it is pretty well done. The only real downside to the game, besides its high difficulty, lies in the camera. It's located behind the player, and it's unfortunately sometimes difficult to see enemies, since the camera can sometimes shift into unideal locations, especially in narrow spaces. SIfu is a strong and attractive game, which will no doubt be a hit with fans of combat games. That said, we really do wish there were modes of varying difficulty to allow players who don't specialize in this type of game to be able to access the adventure. We appreciate the difficulty, but having to play and replay each level can become a bit tedious, and less arduous fans might eventually lose interest. And that's why we're giving SIfu a rating of 7.5 out of 10.